Well, Kelsey, I am so excited that you decided to say yes to being on the Wishbeads podcast. We have quite a journey to share with our viewers, listeners.
Thank you so much for having me, Alexa. I absolutely adore you. So I'm just so thankful for you and to be here. Thank you.
Oh, well, I'm going to take us back to when we first met. And I think what many people don't realize about this company is that it's a small little company, run by one very passionate lady. So I think our first connection actually had to do with a customer service email. And for some reason, I don't remember what happened or what the question was, but in our exchange, I realized that you lived near me or whatever. Like when I sent something to you, I was like, oh, then I connected the dots to your Instagram handle because I realized that you would watch me during my lives.
Yes, absolutely.
Such a small little world. But then everything turned around. We sort of deepened our internet relationship when you started to, I guess, inspired by maybe Wishbeads, or we can talk about what inspired you. You began practicing piano live on Instagram, and I happened to catch you, and you were playing Chopin, which is literally my favorite composer of all time. And so that's when I was like, then like sitting as the number one, uh, Kelsey Deanne life fan on Instagram. So can you tell me a little bit about how you found out about Wishbeads and sort of what your journey was up to that point?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with a lot of people with COVID, it was such a blessing in the way that we got to go in and work on, okay, what is my purpose? What are my gifts? How can I give back to the world? And what makes me feel joy? What makes other people feel joy? And how can I enhance that? And so it was probably February, March that I started listening to Teresa Reed, the tarot lady, on Instagram Live. And she kept talking about you and Wishbeads, and I saw that you were on her lives. And I think it was around the new moon wishing for one of the months, like April.
Yeah.
And she was like, Wishbeads are a great way. You can put your wish inside your bracelet and off you go. So then I got Wishbeads for my best friend and I, and we did it. And that's when you called me. And I was just so shocked that the owner of Wishbeads was on my phone. And it was such a pleasant surprise. And you are so genuine, because I know there's a lot of other products that are kind of like this, that are manifesties or whatever, but they don't have the same substance and genuine love behind it. And one of my biggest pet peeves is capitalism of spirituality. And people are just putting products out there like, oh, meditate this, do this, blah, blah, blah. But then there's no true purpose behind it, true meaning and love. And so you stood out to me. I was like, yes, I support Alexa 100%.
Oh, and then, of course, also in that wild year of 2020, which is the time of this recording, 2021, but still very much we're still in the soup. I love that you went back to one of your childhood passions, which was playing piano. So what inspired you to not only start playing piano again, but also putting yourself out there and putting it on live, like letting other people in on that process?
Yeah, it was I went to conservatory music. My passion, I wanted to be a concert pianist. And, when you practice 6 to 8 hours by yourself in a basement with no windows, you kind of go crazy. So I ended up dropping out of the conservatory and doing something else. But it was before COVID. It was the very end of January of 2020. I went through a breakup and just had to just release a bunch of toxicity in my life and blah, blah, blah. And I was really like, okay, let's nourish this inner child. And one of the things I didn't really overcome when I was playing piano as a concert pianist was the fear of playing in front of people, which is kind of like, if you want to play and perform, you have to get over that fear.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to be playing by yourself. So from watching you and watching the tarot lady and all these other people go live on Instagram, I was like, okay, this is a platform. I can start practicing and playing in front of people. And my whole theme of it was practice, not perfection, of being okay making mistakes and embracing those mistakes and seeing them as beautiful things. And one of my favorite quotes is Miles Davis: "Do not fear mistakes. There are none." And it's true, because when you listen to his music, there are quote unquote so many flubs in his music, but they're freaking beautiful.
Perfect.
And so I just wanted to share that. And the more and more I played live on Instagram, the more I realized it was selfish of me to withhold that gift, because it made other people feel joy and relaxed and peace, especially during times of quarantine when people are stuck home, they can't listen to live music. So that felt really good to give and receive.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I will tell you, I loved, and I'm not really on Instagram that much other than when I check in it from time to time, but I'm not like looking at lives. But I remember the afternoon and I was like doing something super mundane, like my QuickBooks or whatever. And I was so happy to see you, because Instagram can be a very one-way situation. You see people's names and you see their comments, but
Mm.
to be able to see you in your environment and to hear your beautiful music and for you to take me along that ride, it literally just sparked my heart. I was so happy. And then what happened, which I just, it's just yay, yay, yay to you. It was beautiful, beautiful. But then what happened is that the next time we would go on lives together, I would see you and I had this new relationship with you. It's like your interweb friends. When
Yeah.
I'm like, I know her, I watch her live, and it's that camaraderie. And suddenly
Mhm.
you're building this community. Now,
Yeah.
here's where it gets interesting, which is, and I love the idea that you're talking about identifying your fear. So your fear as a teacher, and then finding a way to sort of overcome that fear by confronting it in a low stakes situation. So
Mhm.
even though it can feel vulnerable to put yourself on an Instagram live, it's not really comfortable for people. On the other hand, like it's Instagram live. Like it's not usually with the followings that we have, it's like 10 people. I mean, usually
Yeah.
people we know. So I would call that like a low stakes situation. But
Mhm.
around this same time, in the middle of the year, middle of 2020, my dear friend Annie started to really share her passion for swimming in the ocean at dawn. And at first, my story was absolutely not. I've lived by the beach for 20 years. I barely ever go in. I like the beach, but like that's not my jam. But my son is best friends with her son, and they started to go, and it was their energy and enthusiasm which became kind of contagious. And when your son tells you, you've got to do this, it's amazing, suddenly you're like, okay, maybe I'll do this thing.
Mhm.
And that opened up this whole new beautiful chapter in my life where I joined them and I got the wetsuit. And my fear, as you know, is the waves. And the waves are intimidating to me. And even though I swam as a child, and I saw the movie Jaws as a kid. And so, like, that ruins you forever about everything involving water, even pools. Um, but I just wanted the experience on the other side of that wave. So I started to show up and, get the wetsuit and I'm with all these other wonderful swimmers who are encouraging me. And it was sort of a good, safe, socially distanced thing. So fast forward, I'm doing this thing and you're on one of my lives and I wish we knew the day, but there was one day that I'm like, Kelsey, Deanne life, you live near me. If you ever want to go swimming, you should come. And God love you. You said yes.
It
So
did.
talk to me about your experience of that invitation. Like what was your thinking behind saying yes?
Yeah, it's funny. I think it was in July. A good friend of mine recommended the book The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. And
Mm.
in it, he just talks about how you just have to relax and release, and whatever shows up in your life with, even you're like, I don't know why this is, just say yes and see what happens and surrender to this. So I was on that experiment and said, I've been saying yes to a lot of different things and all these amazing things are happening. So when you said, when I swim in the ocean, my brain was already on this yes experiment. So I was like, yes, why not? Let's just see what happens. This sounds insane, but okay. Cool. And it's funny because I think it was in late September or October that I said yes. And so the winter weather was coming and you're like, I recommend you get a wetsuit. I'm like, all right. So I'm going to look for my receipts for my wetsuit because that'll tell me, because I
Oh
think I
yeah.
ordered it the day after. So yeah, I got this wetsuit and I've been working on releasing a lot of my stuff in my life. So it's as soon as you release stuff, then new beautiful things can come in. So I just released something in my life, and literally the next day you asked me to go. I'm like, okay. Um, and it's absolutely stunning. I pulled up to this house, I had no idea. And it's weird because I know we've seen each other on Instagram a lot, but seeing in person was like, oh, hello. And it felt like I was just seeing my sister. I was like, hello, sister.
And think about it. I mean, for people to know, we swim at dawn, which meant that Kelsey was going to see people that she doesn't know, which like even in 2020, like with COVID and stuff, already has like another layer of anxiety to it. And
Mhm.
also when we meet, it's at 6:15 in the morning, which is typically dark.
Yeah.
So and I remember when we were driving up, I told my youngest son, I was like, oh, one of my Instagram friends is going to meet us for the swim. And he's like, that is so weird. And I was like, maybe, but like not really. I'm sure she's fine.
Yeah. It's like we talk to each other on the phone. It's, we passed the weirdo test, It's like,
It's going to be fine.
it's gonna be fine. But it was so magical because we're literally in this little pod walking up to the beach, and the sun is just about to rise out of the water, and it feels so beautiful and magical, not only because of the people you're with. The pod are just, every single person is just such a beautiful soul. And when you go out there and you're just, again, surrendering to the waves and to the ocean, and you're completely vulnerable, but yet you
Mhm.
feel so supported out there. And that's what life is, right? And what you talk
Yep.
about all the time about, you have to just break through that fear, and then once you're on the other side, it's peace.
It's peace and awe and wonder and jumping dolphins and
Mm,
silly conversations. And I mean, it just, believe me, sharks are the farthest thing from your brain when you're out there. And I feel like it was been one of the biggest gifts. And I even created a little training program called Swimming Through Fear on my other website, which I'll put a link to. But I also think, and I love this, and I want to, in the show notes, we'll put a link to the book that you recommended about surrendering and this idea of saying yes, because you don't know what's on the other side of that yes. And while we won't go into details, it didn't take too long for you to also connect in a very significant way with somebody who is in our swim pod.
yes. Yeah. So that was the other thing about last year, was again releasing and really being clear about what you want in your life and what you want in your life partner. So yeah, it's funny. I think it was after a month or two of swimming with the pod, and I was just enjoying the group and you and building friendships. And there is a young gentleman in our group that is like the handsomest man I've ever seen. And one day he invited me for coffee afterwards, and I was like, all right, yes, let's say yes, let's see what happens. And the rest is history. I found
The
my
rest is history.
woohoo.
Anyway, so yes, that is one of the perks of being in
Yes,
the Wish Pod. You may find your life partner.
exactly. So thank you, Alexa,
No,
for
hey, this is all you, man. You're the one who said yes. You're the one who found your way into this situation. So I am just so delighted. I'm so delighted. But what was also so beautiful is that I got to know you, not
Mm,
only as a beautiful pianist, but you are a shamanic healing practitioner. I have learned so much and been the recipient of your phenomenal treatments. And I've always been someone who has appreciated healing energies and healing arts. And so as I was learning more about your work and who you study with and sort of using Reiki, I was like, well, I would like to try some of that. And so I would love for you to share about the work that you're doing now and what you're putting out into the world and a little bit how it works.
yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'll just step back a little bit. So after I did piano, then I shifted into anthropology, and because I've always been fascinated by what makes people tick, basically, and gives them purpose and all this stuff. And really shifting away from this Western idea of how we see each other and how we perceive and all these things. So yes, again, another thing of 2020 was really fully embracing, okay, who am I?
That's
Where
a
am I
that's a
going?
lifelong question for everybody, just in case you're wondering. Ask yourself, who am I? It's a good one.
Exactly. Absolutely. I mean, yeah, most of my friends are older, and I've been spending this week with my family who are in their late 60s, and they're again constantly on this quest of like, okay, what's my purpose now? What can I be doing?
Yeah.
Um but yeah, this past year is just really about, okay, embracing the fact that I am intuitive, I am connected to spirit, and I do have these healing gifts, and they're not mine, they're just from spirit. And just really delving into that of like, okay, how can I use this to help people on their journey and their own life journey of what they're trying to do? Um, so yeah, basically like the whole principle is everybody is energy. We're 70% water, and which is I think where we vibe with water so much is
Mm.
we're conduits of energy. So emotions, thoughts, other people's presences. So I give this example all the time to clients is that when somebody walks in the room or you walk into a party, you might get this feeling like, ooh, I don't like that person. I don't know why, but they just give me the EBGBs. Or other people you meet immediately like, oh yes, you're my sister.
Mhm.
This is cool. I feel this. Because we're receiving and giving energy all the time. And so what happens a lot of times is when we go through either experiences, both positive and negative, and also we have emotions and thoughts that are constantly going through us. If we don't release those things, then they get built up in our systems, both in our energy field and in our physical body. So what Reiki and shamanism does is that it helps to open up and release those energies, both positive and negative. Again, it's like with falling in love. If you hold on to, ooh, I want to like just keep these love feelings all the time. I want to feel this way all the time. Then that's when you start having these possessive
Attachment. Yeah.
attachments, codependency, all these things. So you just got to trust and have faith that this is not permanent, that good things are going to come in, and you just got to release and receive constantly.
Yeah. Be in the flow.
Exactly. So yeah, I work with a lot of shamanic modalities. So I study with the Foundation of Shamanic Studies. It's shamanism.org, and it was founded by Michael Harner. He's an anthropologist, and he passed away, but there's a lot of people that are continuing his legacy. So he literally went out and studied with all these different energy healers, shamans, medicine people all over the world, and got permission to do a synthesis, a conglomeration, all of them. And then, yeah, crystals and essential oils, medicinal plant oils, everything just comes together, and it's just putting together a tool belt. Yes. Is that
I have
Angelica?
mine. Yes, it is. I have
Woohoo.
mine. So what's so cool about Kelsey's work is that she's intuitively tapping into your own energy, asking guides what oil, medicinal oil would be beneficial to this individual. And so, yes, I have Angelica. So I'm tuning into my angels and guardians and asking for like the bat phone. Do you know what I mean? Like the bat phone to be like, and yes, what do we need right now? What's happening? So I will tell you, just side note. So I've worked with Kelsey a few times doing one-on-one sessions. I'm using crystals that she recommends and oils that she recommends. And I did the time of this recording, I just had done my new moon wishing in Aquarius. And I will tell you, Kelsey, today, like on fire. Things are on fire. And when on fire, I don't actually mean fire like hot, danger too, like too intense. Actually, the better word is divine order, alignment, intuition, guidance. Those are the words that actually define so many of the things. And I was sharing with today. So today, the date of today is February 12th, right? Am I saying that right? Is it the 12th? I think it is the 12th. It is. And on my live today, you actually on Instagram at wishbeads.official, there is a live that we did where two people I wasn't planning on asked to tell their story. One was a survivor of stage 4 breast cancer. And another was someone who found wish beads and her wish came true. And what she shared was so in divine order of what I had asked for yesterday. And when I feel like you use the energy, so one, the clearing and whatever work that you did, maybe you can tell me, you can tell us about what's happening when you do a one-on-one session. And my using on a regular basis this Angelica root and on my Wish Beads Black Lava Rock, which we'll talk about in a minute, but using these tools, I just feel more supported. I feel like I'm not out there trailblazing on my own, wondering. I feel like um, I'm, I'm really much more in touch
Mhm.
and supported by the forces that are unseen. So, oh, I thank you for that. I thank you for the work that you're doing in the world. I feel so lucky to have you in my orbit so that I can work with you. Although Kelsey does work with people remotely, so we'll get to all of her details at the end. So, Kelsey, can you tell me, like, and tell us what is the shamanic practices that you're using when you're in session with somebody one on one to see what they need?
Yeah, you said something earlier I wanted that goes into this as well, is that it's not me,
Mm,
and it's connecting to spirit and our divine helpers on the other side. And every single person has divine helpers, so do not think that you're alone. And as you said, it's just having these tools to be open and to quiet the mind, in the sense that the ego is a really good thing. It's our computer, it helps us navigate the world. However, we don't often know why things happen, and we don't know why we're supposed to do things. And that's the whole point, is that with these oils, crystals, and meditations, wish beads, anything that you can do to really connect to the divine and spirit, God, universe, whatever you want to call it, so that you can relax into it and you can say yes to things, and you may not know why, but you feel supported. And that's the whole thing about wishing and manifesting, is that if you're in alignment with spirit and your purpose and what you're supposed to do, ask and you shall receive. You
that's
can have
right.
anything you want if it can be given. Um, and that's the thing too. And one of my favorite books is Bowl of Light. And I think I wrote about it in a couple of blog posts too, is Hale Makua. He's basically if he passed away already, but if Hawaii was still independent, he would have been the king of Hawaii. And he's the kahuna, the shaman
Yeah.
of and he always talks about that's exactly what he talks about. And it's just so beautiful. And so when I'm working with someone, the very first thing I do is we got to cleanse, so sage, palo santo, and then call in our guides. So they might tell me, oh, she needs this oil. I have no idea why. I'm not trying to rush. I'm like, okay, you need vanilla or you need sandalwood or whatever. And then they'll recommend crystals. And then oftentimes when I'm doing Reiki, for those of you that are listening don't know what Reiki is basically energy that's coursing through my hands from spirit. And I work a lot with archangels. Moving my hands over your body, and sometimes placing my hands on your body if there's needs to be more direct energy to open something up. They'll tell me, okay, put your hands here. And I don't know why. And I'll put hands there, especially when I'm tired. It's like, okay, yeah, spirit just has to guide me. And that's the other thing too about spirituality, is that it's a direct personal experience. So it's about exactly what you're experiencing. And again, that's so much stress off of my shoulders that you don't have to do what I say. It's your own personal experience. I'm just here to hold space, facilitate, and be a channel, and to hopefully open you up so that you can talk directly to your divine helpers.
Yeah. I recently had a dear friend of mine pulled her calf, and she's a very intuitive person, very intuitive person. And I thought it was so neat that she has been developing her own practice and communication with her guides, as anybody can do, by the way. And she, in the moment where she was experiencing a lot of pain, she actually envisioned, and I thought this was so fascinating, envisioning just the stone that she needed to help ease her pain. Now, this was not a real crystal. This was just one in her imagination. What was
Mhm.
fascinating, she didn't know consciously what this stone was or crystal was. It was only later when she described it that that actual stone was precisely the stone for physical trauma. And
Mhm.
when she imagined the properties of this stone going into her calf in real life, she received instant relief from the intense pain.
Mhm.
And just hearing her story is a powerful reminder that we do have this ability. So whether we need additional supports like really high grade oils or crystals or treatments or prayers or whatever those tools are, they
Mhm.
are available to us. And
Absolutely.
and if we listen and say yes, maybe to some things that are showing up in your world, you'll have just the tools that you need to get you from that mentality of I can't do something to I can do something. It's just that's as simple as the shift is. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I do have the strength, power, commitment, good fortune, whatever that is, to move forward in divine health and divine manifestation, whatever. And to me, it gives me great hope. I love that.
Absolutely. And that's the thing too about the work that Wishbeads and shamanic studies and practicing is the power of intention. In that if you want to go on a journey and go to the upper world, or if you are in a Reiki session, like, okay, my intention is my client has really bad knee pain. I'm going to go in this. My intention is to gather up all this healing energy, call in the guides. All right, team, let's heal this knee.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how powerful that is.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we're moving into a time, which I think is very exciting, that I hear more people talk about Reiki than I've ever heard in my life. I was just having a business call with someone, and out of her mouth, she was like, I was about to take this Reiki class. I'm like, what is going on? But what I love about this is that these kinds of conversations are much more common, which means that when it becomes more common, more people have access to additional things. They're not threatening, spirituality, and my vantage point is not a counter to religion, for example, or Eastern medicine is not counter to Western medicine, that we're all understanding that they're all tools, right? And I will never forget a funny story from my mom when I was talking about my birth plan or whatever for when I had babies. Now my babies are teenage boys, and I said, my intention is to give birth naturally, mostly because I was afraid of the needle of an epidural. That was truthfully, it wasn't like I was some granola earth mama. But I said, my intention is, and I would make all these reasons why I'm going to set my intention to give birth naturally. And I remember my mom's comment. She said, I just want you to know that God invented epidurals too. And I thought, I didn't end up getting an epidural, but I thought it's such a refreshing place because we can get locked in to a point of view, a concept about something. And sometimes it just requires some softening.
Yes.
Softening of that concept to just sort of take that delicate step into the unknown to say, imagine if I could call on an astral crystal, or imagine if I can work with a practitioner over Zoom and suddenly find some blessed release in healing. Imagine if, and I love that. I mean, that's what Wishbeads is all about. And I think that when you find and connect with other individuals like you that are sharing in that, we find community and joy and friendship.
Exactly, 100%. And just you're talking about too, there's a French philosopher that I adore, Michel Foucault, and he talks about how things don't exist until we give it a name. And there was one exercise we did in your Wishbeads experience group where we had to look up the meanings of our name, and what that means for us and how that affects our vibration in our life. But it's so true, because like thinking about like mental disorders, people think, oh, I have bipolar disorder, this is my crutch, this is who I am. However, bipolar disorder only came in when somebody gave it a name. And before that, it just was. And so to just remove those labels and just have it as energy, and even going into the ocean, like, oh my gosh, I'm afraid of these waves in the ocean. Well, if you remove the label of that and just have it as energy, it's just energy. And you're actually, it's almost like you're excited. It's like, oh, I have all this energy here. Okay, let's rename this as excitement, and then go and see how that.
It's so true. And for years, I worked with people who really experienced a fear of public speaking, which is the number one fear, even over death, which is shocking that someone would rather be dead than give a talk. But this idea, it's exactly it. When you have this accelerated energy, instead of having a commentary about it and naming it, insecurity, anxiety, panic, there is sort of an excitement to feeling that surge of energy, that challenge. And just because we think that it's true, like the truth, my truth is that wave is powerful. It can knock me out. It can drag me to the bottom of the sea. I could die. That's my truth. But what's so funny is that there's another gentleman in our pod has no problem with the waves, but his truth is a fear of the sea life. Now, I'm not talking about, Jaws. I'm talking about dolphins. Now, for me, so it's funny how you just have perspectives, right? Everyone's stuck in their own story. For me, I think a dolphin is like the unicorn of the sea. I know that's maybe a narwhal, but honestly, I think that it is a gift of the heavens when I see dolphins. I think it's amazing. So I see a dolphin, zoom, I'm like trying to swim to the dolphin. But there you go. It's everybody's story. He doesn't care about the waves. I do. He is terrified of sea life. I love sea life. That means it's all neutral. It's all neutral. And if we can stay in that flow, as you mentioned, Kelsey, we can really keep ourselves open to the opportunities where we can say yes.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you never know what's going to happen. Here I am with you.
I mean, so much has happened as a result of you saying yes to swimming, to saying yes to Wishbeads actually before that. And I think when you can, how can you recommend for people? Let's say they've never thought about Reiki, or this stuff maybe seems a little bit too woo-woo for them. Do you have suggestions for someone to kind of open up their intuition? How do you recommend maybe clients that are new to the healing modalities, and what do you say to them to start developing their own intuition?
Yeah. So a lot of times when I work with clients that are very, very new to intuition, tapping into spirit, all these things, is everybody has sensories, right? So we can taste, smell, hear, see, feel, everything, right? And everybody has a certain sense that they're more strongly into. So for me, I'm very empathic, so I feel everything. And that's the thing with crystals too, and with oils. And I think the oils are they open up all of your senses, so you can smell them, you can feel them, you can taste them. They open up your senses in your eyes and what you can see. But for example, with crystals, this is something great to start out with. Is that I have clients that hold, for example, their car keys in one hand. Um, and just to back up too, oftentimes your non-dominant hand is going to be your intuitive hand, and then your dominant hand is what energy you put out in the world. So it's your business side, all that stuff. So I'll have clients hold, okay, put car keys in your left hand, or whatever is your non-dominant. What do you feel? Is it cold? Is it hot? Is it heavy? Is it light? What kind of images pop into your head whenever you're holding your keys? And then I'll put a crystal in their hand. I'll put, I don't know, selenite. Put selenite in their hand, which is like this beautiful, do you have selenite? Yes. Yes. And the Wishbeads cleansing and clearing kit. Oh my goodness.
There it is.
It's just beautiful, angelic white light. And this is one of the only crystals that you don't have to cleanse or recharge, because
It's a recharger and cleanser.
Yes.
And by the way, if you're fortunate enough to work with Kelsey in person, she has the largest piece of selenite that I've ever seen. This is like a little one.
Yes, like selenite is just absolutely beautiful. It heals everything. And just to see what they feel. Is it light? Is it heavy? What images are you getting ahead? And that's to start out with. Yes, exactly. And just to start playing with it, having fun with it, and don't get too in your head about it, like, oh, like let's analyze every single thing. Just feel it out, see what happens. And just trust. That's again going back to intention, especially with the wish beads. I have my wish beads on, and rose quartz, and all these things. Is start feeling these. And whenever you look down at them, what wish did you put in there? How is this rose quartz amplifying my wish inside? What is it feeling like? And that's where you start. And it's a muscle. It's a muscle that you work on every single day. And that's what they do. I had a client last week. She's like, I'm a horrible meditator. I can't meditate. Like, I can't sit still. I go blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, well, what are some moments in your life where you really felt connected to nature? You really felt connected to spirit? She's like, oh, I love horses. I love, love, love horses. And every time I'm with a horse, I just feel like I'm in the presence of divine. I'm like, all right, that's your way in. Don't meditate. That's just one tool. So keep like figurines of horses on your desk. Put pictures of, and I know you do this all the time too, Alexa, and I think that's where I got the idea from, is what are some things that you can do to amplify your wish inside? Well, one of my wishes was red carpet life. So I had red everywhere. I had all these, images, and I know the sea turtle popped up for you. So, okay, let's put sea turtle images everywhere. And that's your way in of like, okay, when I have a problem, let's just look at these images. Horse, tell me what to do. Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And
It's
so
so,
that's,
you know what's so interesting? So I just had a photo shoot with my absolute favorite photographer, Anastasia Chomlak, up in Canada. And she sent me, I'll have to send you this folder of images, and I'm going to be posting them in Wishbeads. These unbelievable images of horses, children on horses with wish beads, this woman. It is the most, I'm getting chills thinking about it. It's so powerful. And it's true, these things that are visual reminders for us, we taste that energy every time we see that. You talk about awakening your senses. And about the sea turtle, which came to me and came to a few of us in a visualization exercise we were doing. I now have it as my main image when I sit down at my desk, which typically is a very, it's where my brain is most, engaged. I start that experience through this beautiful image of a sea turtle, big, because my desktop is quite large, with that image, and I get to drink from that energy. And to me, the turtle is a messenger of that divine energy, teaching me about flow, teaching me about time. This is a big one for me. I have an engine that says I want things yesterday. I have so many ideas. I want them yesterday. And then I feel bad that I'm not making them happen faster, faster, faster. And the sea turtle is very wise. And if all goes well, they live a very long time. And this idea of legacy, or the work that I'm doing, it's really a consciousness. I think it's one of the messages of that sea turtle to me: slow down, allow to be in the flow, allow the experience, ride the waves of energy, and it will take you, and you will hear our wisdom, and we will support you. And can I just share one other teeny little story?
yes.
Okay. So you know this, but to my listeners, and viewers, we're creating a new collection called the Cause Collection. And one of the bracelets, I want to align it with a cause called the Turtle Hospital, because to honor the vision that I had of sea turtles, I want to give back. I want to help the sea turtles. And I found this organization out of Key West. And if you look at their images, it's called the Turtle Hospital. And if you look at the image, it's literally like one little building that they're very well known. Sea turtles, they get sea turtles that need hospitalization and care to be re-released into the wild. But really, it's a small little place. Now, immediately, of course, I gave them a personal donation, but they didn't know that I am going to be doing this whole thing to give money and awareness back to the Turtle Hospital. Why? Because of my visualization. Here's the crazy thing. We live in California. My friend was in the grocery store line, and she saw a guy wearing an old t-shirt of the Turtle Hospital. And she was like, what the heck? And I'm like, oh my God. And you can't, she said because it was COVID, and I was got a mask and I didn't talk to him. I was like, it doesn't matter. How on earth this tiny nonprofit that pretty much every time I've talked to this, no one's heard of them, especially not in California, maybe in Key West and Florida, maybe they're well known. I don't know. But she's like, this t-shirt was so old. Like he went on a trip 20, 30 years ago to Key West and got this t-shirt. She said, but it was absolutely the Turtle Hospital. And then I say, that is a wink from beyond that says, keep going, keep going. You're swimming exactly where you need to be swimming. Keep going. That's how it works.
That's absolutely works. And that's the thing too. You can ask your divine helpers, even if you don't feel them or see them, they're there. So just have the intention of saying, give me a sign that I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
And different things of synchronicity will show up, whether it's, okay, I see a hummingbird, or I see a t-shirt or a poster or something.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Ask and you shall receive. That's what you said before. I couldn't agree with you more. Kelsey, tell our awesome wish warriors how they can find you, how they can work with you, how they can read your amazing blog posts and go on your journey with you.
Oh my goodness. Thank you. So my website is www.anthroangel.com. So anthro meaning anthropologist, angel. And yeah, I do in person and also distant healing Reiki sessions, as well as consultations. So if you're interested in a crystal and oil or different tools, and or even if you just want to help increasing your intuition and tapping into your guides, I'm here to help you in any way you need. So yeah, you can go to my website, and then I'm on Instagram, Kelsey Deanne Life.
Yay, amazing. And as I shared earlier, one of the ways that I'm really incorporating your work into my daily life is the essential oil. And you use an amazing company. What are they called?
Yeah,
Wisdom.
Wisdom of the Earth. They're out of
Yeah.
Sedona. They are a locally family-owned business, and they source all of they're 100% pure medicinal grade essential oils. So there's no carry oils in it. And the reason why you can't order directly on the website is that you have to know how to use them. Some of them are very hot essences that you can't apply directly on your skin. So if you would like to order, just reach out to me and happy to help you. And they're amazing. They have so many different physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental properties to help you on your way. And they're just so yummy and beautiful. And I'm so excited too. You mentioned earlier lava rock.
Yeah, so that's what I use. So our black lava rock is available for men and for women, large, small. We're actually coming out with a choker, but it's not there yet. But what I love about it is that it's a nice 10 millimeter bead. But what I do is I take one drop and I put it on my black lava rock. And so when I'm wearing it, the heat of my arm, my wrist, is activating it. So it's almost like you have your own aromatherapy. So it's in this, and I always wear my Wishbeads on my left hand. So in a way, I'm receiving that divine guidance, the alignment, whatever. And I'll tell you, after the week I'm having, it is working.
Oh, good. Yeah, angelic root is probably my favorite oil. It helps you align with the angelic realm, and you put it. I like to put it on the back of my neck and my shoulders, and it literally feels like angel wings are wrapping around you, and any kind of stress or anxiety or blocks that you might have are just lifted, and you're like, oh, okay, I see the solution. Let's go. Awesome. And it's really magical.
Yeah, thank you. So thank you for all of the work that you're doing. Thank you for being a new fabulous friend of mine. I'm so excited. And we're already cooking up really fun things that we're going to be doing in the future, but I'm doing it in divine time. I'm flowing with the sea. But in the meantime, I'm so excited that we get to swim together. So yay.
Me too.
In the pod.
I know, I'm so incredibly thankful for you, Alexa. You're just absolutely a soul sister. You're just divine goddess. And I'm just so thankful for you and excited for all these things that are unfolding. And it's only just the beginning, and so excited.
Oh, well, here is to everybody listening, wherever you are in that place. Just know that this wonderful energy, the energy that Kelsey is talking about, that I'm talking about in my work, this energy is your energy. You already have it. There is nothing that other people have and you don't. It's when we open ourselves up, when we surrender, we say yes, we find our pod that can cheer you on, which, by the way, you can always find us because we're already cheering you on. And then it makes you feel that you're not alone, that we all have divine guidance. And it's up to us to notice, and it's up to us to listen and to find the true joy of life. Because it's true, I do think our obstacles and challenges, they're our greatest teachers. And when we can embrace that, even though sometimes it feels uncomfortable, we can find the joy and the peace and the love that's on the other side of that scary wave. And that's available to anybody. So thank you, Kelsey, for being my fabulous wish warrior and dear, dear soul sister friend. I'm just so delighted that Wishbeads brought us together.
Yay, me too. Thank you so much, Alexa.
You're so welcome. And of course, as always, I'm going to include all the show notes, the books that Kelsey recommended to us, which is great, and quotes. And so you can learn more about her and her amazing work because she's awesome.
Oh, thank you.
All right. And the next time I see you, we'll be swimming in the sea.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Bye, sweetie.
Bye.